What is your most impactful observation? What would you, if you had a billboard that told the world what you're thinking right now, what would it say?
I'll kick off. Um, one of the topics that was at the bottom of the list, and kind of the other topics, was tariffs, and that's been something that we've been discussing quite a bit internally. Um, I don't think that I certainly didn't expect at the beginning of 2025 that I'd be spending as much time reviewing and analyzing tariffs as I am. But it's pretty fascinating and equally frustrating exercise. I think for funds, it's really an analysis of indirect effects, since the tariffs aren't on goods, they're not on businesses or real estate or securities or debt. I mean, they are on goods. They're on goods, and so it makes it very challenging. It's a challenging environment for decision making, and it raises more questions than answers. What's going to be the impact on logistics and shipping? What are the cost implications on supply and demand in the retail sector? For Origin in particular, how do tariffs impact construction materials? How does that impact development? And how does this all trickle down to renters in the housing market? I don't have any predictions or answers as to how this is going to shake out, other than a guess that it'll bring a renewed focus on inventory management in anticipation of supply chain disruption that may or may not materialize.
So I think one common theme that we've talked about a lot during this session is how the current administration seems willing and eager to provide guidance that loosens things up and helps the industry along by being a little bit more hands off. And I think that one important thing to keep in mind as firms think through, well, how aggressive they want to be and um, what level of risk they're comfortable with respect to these compliance issues, is to remember that the statute of limitations and like the look back period in exams is longer than the length of one administration. And so while certainly it makes sense to maybe take more aggressive positions, especially in the early days, you also have to think about uh, making sure that overall you're still thinking about compliance and whatever you do, um, and being being careful and being kind of consistent over time.
I think we're entering a very exciting period, right? Like the regulatory landscape is changing, the economic policies are changing, and while it does introduce a lot of uncertainty, I think it's a very big opportunity for people who have kind of mature yet flexible compliance departments, mature yet flexible like risk tolerance. If you can go in now, pay attention to like all of the potential risks from state regulators, from other jurisdictions that you might be exposed to, and have a concrete way to make decisions and like navigate, now is the time to kind of like double down. Economic uncertainty is a time when you can win very big, but you need to be prepared to kind of like take advantage of it. So don't move slowly. Don't be scared of what's coming. Like, we got some great times in front of us.
And I would sort of emphasize three takeaways. One is remain vigilant, right? Don't get complacent with compliance for all the reasons that the team said. Continue just a steady focus on meeting existing regulatory and allocator expectations, and have confidence that you can then take some of the risk that Dan was talking about. Second, I do think this is a great time, to Dan's point, for compliance to be at the table, right, with a good program and work with the business to help seize new opportunities, whether it's things like expanding retail access to alternative investments, introducing a sound, simplified regulatory framework around digital assets, or really supporting innovation and capital formation around AI. this administration, this SEC are really going to open doors there. And compliance, a good program and good leadership can help seize those opportunities. And then third, it's a time, I think, when you don't have all the wave of regulations that were coming under the Gensler administration. So do you have a modern program? Is it ready to scale and grow in this technological environment? So third would be sort of leverage technology, AI, outsourcing into your compliance program so you can do more with less and be efficient during this time.